Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be speaking about a very interesting phenomenon, when an adjective can become a noun. This phenomenon is called substantivization. You might also know it by the name of nominalization. First and foremost, let's answer the question, what is substantivization? Substantivization is a linguistic term that stands for the use of a verb or an adjective as a noun, with or without morphological transformation, so that the word can now act as the head of a noun phrase. The name substantivization comes from the Latin word substantia, substance. So we can say that substantivization is a process of becoming a substance, or a thing. Today we'll only be talking about adjectives and how they can become nouns. To be more precise, how they can acquire the functions of nouns in a sentence. Let's start with examples. Married men are said to live longer than single men. Here we have two adjectives, married and single, that precede the noun men. Let's try to withdraw this noun. We'll get the married are said to live longer than the single. What information does this sentence give us? The married and the single stand for two groups of people. By the way, not necessarily men in this case, people in general, those who are married and those who are single. The married and the single. We don't need to mention the noun. We just put the definite article before our adjectives, and now those adjectives act like nouns. Nouns that define a group of people with a particular characteristic. Another example, Michael went to war. He's a brave person. Michael went to war. Michael is a brave. You see, the sentences are different. They are somewhat different stylistically, and grammatically we see that the first option, the first response, contains the noun person, whereas the second does not. We just say he is a brave. Here we use our adjective with the indefinite article a brave, and a brave stands for a brave person. So basically we just dropped the noun. But here we are not talking about a group of people, we are talking about Michael, a particular person. Is it a stereotype that French people love drinking wine? Is it a stereotype that the French love drinking wine? Again, we used the article before the nationality, the French, and French is an adjective, and now this adjective is substantivized. It functions as a noun that signifies a group of people who live in France. French people, the French. From these examples, we see that we can find substantivization in different circumstances. When does it occur? Substantivization may occur as the outcome of ellipsis in an attributive phrase, or it may be due to an unusual syntactic functioning. Let's see the difference. I was choosing between an ivory coat and a beige one. In the end, I decided to buy the beige. We understand that we are talking about the same coat that we have mentioned in the previous sentence. Here the noun coat is just dropped, and we get our substantivized adjective in the result of ellipsis. Ellipsis is when a word is omitted because it is not necessary to mention it. The utterance is clear because of the information that we have already received. We can understand what is meant judging by the context, because we have the context. Another example, he's a native. He speaks the language of the locals. Here, a native is a substantivized adjective. This type of substantivization we call full, because here the adjective acquired all the characteristics that a noun can have. It can be used with different articles, can be in the possessive case, can be used in plural, right? We can say he is a native, they are natives, or it's a native's prerogative. We can do whatever we want with this adjective, just the way we would do it with a normal noun. Compare this use of the word native to the sentences where it is used as an adjective. His native language is Nepali. or non-native plants may threaten native species. In these two sentences, native is used attributively before nouns as a typical adjective. Let's talk about these two types of substantivization in detail. Adjectives in English may be either wholly or partly substantivized. This way we're talking about full and partial substantivization. Fully substantivized adjectives can be preceded by articles, take the plural form, or be used in the possessive case. Partially substantivized adjectives take the definite article but cannot take the plural form and cannot be used in the possessive case. Examples of adjectives that are fully substantivized and are widely used in the language are an intellectual, a native, a grown-up, a male, a female. These adjectives are used as nouns every day in many different contexts. They are fully substantivized. When we speak about partial substantivization, we speak about this article the that appears before an adjective, and this structure acquires the meaning of a group of people that are characterized by this adjective. The poor, or the wealthy, the mortal, the immortal, and so on and so forth. But such adjectives cannot be inflected for the plural and they cannot be used in the possessive case. Partially substantivized adjectives keep much of their adjectival nature. For instance, they can be used with adverbs. We can say the poor or the very poor, or the happy, the absolutely happy, meaning people who are very poor and people who are absolutely happy correspondingly. So, for partial substantivization, it's enough to put the in front of the adjective. This will mean a group of people that have the quality expressed by the adjective. We say the young, meaning people who are young, the old, people who are old, the brave, people who are brave, the blessed, people who are blessed, the homeless, people who are homeless, and the wealthy, people who are wealthy, and so on and so forth. The place of the definite article can be taken by a possessive pronoun. For instance, we can say, the young should respect the elderly. Young people should respect elderly people anywhere at any time, generally. But also we can say, the city must take care of its elderly citizens, of those people who live in this city and are elderly. We have the possessive pronoun it's instead of the article the, but still are talking about a group of people who share this characteristic. They are elderly. Let's look at some examples of full and partial substantivization. Primary education should be made compulsory and provided free for the poor. These mountainous districts are among the poorest in Georgia. He didn't think he was jealous, but the jealous never do they? Time passes quickly for the really happy. So in these four sentences we see partial substantivization. The poor means people who are poor, poor people. The poorest correspondingly means people who are very poor, yeah? The adjective here is in its superlative degree of comparison. The jealous, again, stands for people who are jealous, and the really happy, people who are really happy. Now let's take a look at full substantivization. The grown-ups were touched by the children's faithful examples. The first contacts of the Europeans with the local natives were extremely violent. He is an intellectual. He spends all his free time reading philosophical works. And compromise is anathema to a radical's mind. Why do we say that these examples are the examples of full substantivization? Because the grown-ups in the first sentence is used in the plural form, grown-ups. So the adjective acquires a nominal characteristic here, yeah? Nouns can be used in plural, adjectives cannot have plural forms in English, yeah? But here we see the grown-ups. So a morphological change has taken place here. That's why we say that this is a full substantivization. In the second example, the local natives, we see the same natives. What used to be the adjective native has become natives. The adjective acquired a plural form like a noun. He is an intellectual. Here the article an shows us that we use our adjective in singular. And a radical minds in the last sentence, but also is used in the possessive case, which is also a characteristic of nouns, not of adjectives in English. Apart from the substantivization of adjectives that denote human beings, people of different states and professions, we can also speak about abstract things here. Abstract adjectives as good, evil, present, past, inevitable, and so on and so forth can also be substantivized. Let's look at some examples. In each of us, two natures are at war, the good and the evil. All of our lives the fight goes on between them, and one of them must conquer. But in our own hands lies the power to choose what we want most to be, we are. Robert Louis Stevenson. The adjectives good and evil speak here about some abstract ideas of the good and the evil, those two forces that fight within each of us. Another example, after all, if you do not resist the apparently inevitable, you will never know how inevitable the inevitable was. Terry Eagleton. In this example, we have the word inevitable functioning both as a true adjective and as a substantivized adjective. So in the first case, the apparently inevitable is a fully substantivized adjective modified by the adverb apparently. Then, a little bit further, we find the same word functioning as an adjective. How inevitable the inevitable was. And this adjective inevitable precedes its substantivized version, the inevitable. The inevitable is an abstract adjective. It stands for all those things that we cannot avoid in life. Adjectives denoting colors can also be substantivized. Let's look at some examples. Spring sunlight flicked along the blue of the swimming pool. The sentence was taken from an article written by Ariel Levy for The New Yorker. And the last example, he wrapped himself in quotations, as a beggar would enfold himself in the purple of emperors. Rudyard Kipling. Substantivization of colors is frequent in literature. It is done for stylistic purposes. Okay guys, this is all for today. I hope this lesson was useful. If you have any questions to me, please leave them in the comment section down below. Subscribe to this channel not to miss my other lessons, and see you in the next video.